Hey everyone, Anne O'Connell with OC Publishing here, and welcome to the author journey. I'm so excited that spring has finally arrived on the east coast of Canada. It's finally nice and warm and the sun is out, but you might be watching this later in the year, but right in this moment, we've got some really nice sunshine. And today's guest, I'm very excited, is coming to us from Spain. So this episode is pre-recorded, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Darlene Foster, who is a YA, young adult adventure travel writer. Fiction, but her series is about a young girl named Amanda. And Darlene is a writer of children's books and short stories, a retirement employment counselor, and ESL teacher. She's a wife, a mother, and a grandmother who loves traveling, reading, shoes, cooking, sewing, music, chocolate, walking on the beach, and making new friends. She sounds like a real dynamo. I love that. Her grandson once called her super mega woman supreme. Wow, that's really cool. She was brought up on a ranch near Medicine Hat, Alberta, so the west of Canada, where she dreamt of traveling the world and meeting interesting people. Her grade 3 teacher encouraged her to write her stories down, which made her dream of being a writer one day. She now has 10 books in the Amanda Travel series and a collection of short stories published. When not traveling and collecting ideas for her books, she enjoys spending time with her family in Canada and with her husband and 2 adorable rescue dogs, Dot and Leah, in Spain. I'm going to let her tell you what the town is because I don't know if I can pronounce it properly. And she says dreams do come true. And I kind of agree with her there. So let's bring her up to say hello to everybody. Hi, Darlene.
I am from Orihuela Costa.
Orihuela Costa. Okay, well, I have to do some more traveling in Spain. I have been to Spain, Madrid, and Torremolinos, but many, many years ago. So yeah, welcome. So welcome to the author journey. And we do have a little bit of a delay because you're coming to us from afar, but I think that's really, really cool. I wanted to tell you, I just finished yesterday reading Amanda in Scotland, and I have it on my handy dandy Kindle here. And I really, really enjoyed it. I think, we have a lot in common with the whole passion for travel and writing about the places you've been. So, and 10 books.
I know. I'm surprised too.
So you have a background in teaching and ESL. So grade 3, your teacher told you were a great writer, but so when did the first Amanda's Travels begin? When did you first write that?
Yes, I went on a trip to visit a friend who was working and living in the United Arab Emirates. And I had a fabulous time. I mean, it was so different. It was so interesting. My friend took me to so many interesting places. And when I came home from the trip, I thought I need to write a book about this. And I started writing an adult story. Mm-hmm. But it was flat. It wasn't the excitement I felt when I was there was not coming through. And then one sleepless night, I was, writing away. And I remembered then while I was there, my girlfriend, who's a really good friend of mine, said to me, "You know what? You're so excited. You're like a 12-year-old. And I thought, why don't I write this story from a point of view of a 12-year-old? And I rewrote what I did, and it came out so. And that was of Amanda and her. It was Amanda's first travel experience, and my first book. Yeah.
I love that. And again, we have so much in common. And that's what kind of drew me to you on Sally Cronin's Smorgasbord blog. You had written about Amanda's adventures in Arabia from that book you just talked about. And I lived in Dubai for 4 years. So I was immediately smitten, and I thought I have to have Darlene
Super.
on the author. I know, right? And here is that. Hang on, I'm just gonna share with folks the, here it is. Look at that, Amanda in Arabia. What a beautiful cover. And so talk a little bit about, so you've traveled the world, so you have just this amazing collection of locations in your mind that have sort of unfolded in these wonderful young adult books. So talk a little bit about how it all unfolded. So here they all are. Look at that. Holy moly. How does that make you feel when you see this?
It makes me feel like I need to pinch myself. I'm not dreaming.
I think it's wonderful.
How it mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
took
so
place. Very nice. It took 3 years to write that book. I was learning, working full time then, and then it took me 5 years to find because, as you know, it's hard to find a publisher. But I did find someone, and she's wonderful. She designed these covers, and but when I found a publisher, while I was looking, I should say, a second one, which is Amanda, Girl in the Painting. And when I did find my published it, she said, "I just love your little story. I think you should write another one. How quick can you write it?" And I said, "Well, funny you should ask. I'm almost finished." Too. That's how that started. And I started thinking about other places I'd spent. And my husband's British and of time to visit. So England was just a logic as well. To Amanda in Alberta, because where I'm from. Child in school, I was reading at, in fact, in school. And she put up her hand and said, "Well, why don't you Alberta?" And I said, "Well, that's where she's from. I'm trying to write stories about where she travels." And the little girl, who was just so sweet, said, "But Alberta's a really interesting province." And I said, "Oh, it is. It's got dinosaurs and cowboys and buffaloes. And yeah, I think I better do that." So then I wrote Amanda in Alberta and had her buddy Leah come and visit her. So that's how it all happened. And after a while, every time my husband and I would go on a holiday, I would be taking pictures and saying, "Oh, Amanda would, this would be great in an Amanda book." And so the joke, my husband and I, and Amanda.
You know what, you need those like those supporters who buoy you up and point things out and say and agree with you, or say, "Oh, no, how about here," right? And so who is your publisher? I always love to give a shout out to the publishers as well.
The first 9 books in the series were published by Publishing. It's a BC independent publisher. I did self-publish the last.
Okay, so you're going to do a reading for us?
Published.
Oh, I think we've lost you. You're frozen up there.
Sorry about the connection.
That's yes. Okay. That's okay. So are you going to do a reading for us?
So I'll be publishing the book as well.
The next one. Okay. Okay, excellent. I'm wondering if you turned your video off, if we might hear you better.
My video off.
I'm not sure if you can do that. Well, that's okay. Let's keep rolling.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So let's do a little reading and see how we go.
I'm very sorry.
No worries.
I'm going to read from Amanda in Scotland, The Stones. This is the most recent Amanda Travels adventure. I've got two short little here. They came to the top of another set of stairs that led down to a kitchen. Copper pans hung on the wall. Apples rested in a basket, and a loaf of bread looked as if it was baking in the brick wall oven. A long wooden table held a plate of fruit tarts beside meat pies and a block of cheese. Wooden chairs sat around the table, ready for the servant's meal. They sure make this look realistic. Amanda stopped. Did you hear that? No, what? Listen, there it is. A moaning sound. Rolled her eyes. You and your imagination. It was probably just a cat. Maybe it's the woman who died here. Really, Amanda? I think you read too many books. The sound grew louder. Even Leah took notice. I think it's coming from behind this door. Let's check. Amanda, no. Maybe we're not supposed to go in there. Amanda ignored her and pulled at the heavy door. It wouldn't budge. Help. A faint sound came from behind the door. We need to get this door open. Amanda tugged harder. Thump. The door swung open. A woman, dressed in clothes from a long time ago, lay on the floor, shivering. Amanda inside the chilly room, lined with rows of wine bottles, shelves. She bent to the woman's hand. It was, are you all right? The woman shook her head slightly. Please, miss, help me. Leah, come and help. I tried to get the woman who begged doll to sit up. You can stand. The woman did. Leah came inside the room and put her arm around the woman's other shoulder to lift her. Her frail frame made it easy to maneuver the cold room and into the warm kitchen. They sat her down in a chair. From how did you in that room? Her head. Then she rubbed the back of her head, put her hand to her face, the blood on her fingers. I'll ask Amanda, or did some? The woman started to cry. Get help. Leah headed to the stairs. I'll go and get Aunt Jen. Amanda pulled a tissue up and handed to the woman. What's your name? The woman mumbled and a weak smile. Got me to the water closet around the corner. But be careful, concussion. Amanda tried to remember from her first aid course what to do if someone had a head injury. Morag leaned on her as they made their way to the public washroom. Amanda was waiting by the door when Leah and the attendant arrived. Where is she? Asked Aunt Jenny. Amanda motioned with her thumb in the bathroom. You shouldn't have left her in there on her own. What if she collapses? The attendant grimaced and marched into the bathroom. She soon came out looking puzzled. There is no one in there. She stared hard at Amanda. What is playing at? Well,
hang on.
One more?
Yes, I would love to hear one more. And I thought I would bring up this gorgeous cover while you're reading to us.
That's perfect. Yeah. The story. Amanda changed into clean. They wandered through the house, checking out the dining room and the library. Wow, your aunt has books. Amanda read across the spines of the many volumes on the bookcase. One entire wall from floor to ceiling. Biology and history books. Scrunched up her nose. Why she's so interested in all old stuff. My says that the more we know about the past, the better we'll be able to deal with the future. Amanda pulled a book off the shelf, causing dust to fly up her nose. Like this one, Secrets of the Ancient World and How They Impact Today's World. Leah faked a huge yawn and put her hand over her mouth. Sounds incredibly boring to me. She leaned against a wood-paneled wall and jumped back. That wall moved. Amanda looked up from the book she was leafing through. No way. Leah pushed the wall. Nothing happened. Amanda walked over and put more pressure on it. It moved slightly, leaving a small gap. They both pushed on the wall, and it soon revealed a passageway. "Let's check it out," whispered. Leah hesitated. Her. Amanda squeezed through the opening and felt her way along the passage. Leah followed. It led to a small, dank. Leah switched from her phone and shone. On the floor, a mattress covered with moth-eaten blanket and a pillow. Energy balls and potato chip bags littered the floor, along with empty plastic. Caught a large in a corner. The room smelled of socks. Amanda wrinkled her nose as she stepped on an apple core. "It looks like someone has been camping in here. Wonder if Aunt Jenny knows about this." Leah moved the light around to a chair with an old-fashioned white bonnet hanging from it. Both girls quickly backed out of the secret room.
Oh, I love that. There's nothing like secret rooms and Scottish Highlands to draw a person into a story, right? Yeah, I really loved it. It's like all kinds of little twists and turns, and the protagonist being a 12-year-old girl, and it's truly it's like a first chapter book. I think it skews a little younger, more of a middle grade.
They are considered or middle grade. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Books, yeah,
and
there's no pictures.
Yeah,
there's no pictures. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. But I think, it go a little older because I certainly enjoyed it. Now, mind you, I taught early childhood and I love children's picture books too. So this is
I truly believe we all are still 12 inside, and many adults enjoy these books. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. So let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned that the first 9 were traditionally published. So that's something else we have in common. My first book was traditionally published. And then the more I learned about the process, and of course the long lead time, to get a traditional publisher and then the time frame. But it's also at the time when, the whole self-publishing, option was kind of burbling up, 15, 20 years ago. So talk a little bit about what you feel are kind of the pros and cons from your perspective.
Like having a publisher. My publisher and I parted on good terms. She's just going a different way with her publishing, and isn't publishing children's books anymore. And I thought, well, rather than try and find another publisher, I'd rather just try doing the self-publishing. The distribution is better with a traditional publisher. The marketing is about the same. I've always done a lot of my own marketing, so I don't think it's a question of marketing. I like the collaboration of having a publisher, and we got along really well too. We worked together on the covers. We worked with the editing and stuff. After 9 books, I know a lot about what I'm doing now. Learning curve, of course. The first book, I think the second book will be I guess I'm 50-50.
Okay.
I just wanted this book to look as good as the traditionally published books, and I think it.
That's the Amanda in Arabia one. Let's have a look.
Oh, Amanda in Scotland is the first one I self-published.
Oh, okay. So, I misunderstood.
The very last book I self-published. The first 9 were traditionally published. Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at these. Hang on a second. I'm going to scroll through, and you can. So we'll start at the top here, Amanda in Scotland. So that's the most recent. And so again, as I scroll through these, Amanda in France. So I'm going to Paris later this month because my next book is set in Paris. I've been a few times, but I have to go back and sort of refresh my memory of some of the scenes. So the next Amanda book I'm going to read is Amanda in France. I've never been to Malta.
It's an amazing place.
Did you use the same designer for the one you self-published?
No,
Okay.
my designed all my other covers, and she's so but she very kindly gave me the templates.
Excellent.
And then I found another book designer who was able to, yeah, because I wanted them to all match.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, and kudos to her for, for encouraging you. So I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Holland, I have to read that one. I've never been to Holland. Look at these. Look how gorgeous they are. And I love, so you said Amanda in Alberta, and you mentioned dinosaurs. Talk a little bit about the dinosaur appearance in Amanda in Alberta.
Well, she goes to the World Museum in Alberta, which is a world dinosaur museum. It's just a fabulous, fabulous place. Schools take their kids on there and stuff. And I've been there many times, but at the time, 10-year-old, he was he was my assistant, and we collected a lot of ideas book. And yeah, I mean, lots of important finds, dinosaur finds have been in Alberta. And so of course I had to mention that in the book. Yeah.
I love that. And here's the thing, I'm wondering, do you intentionally want them to be sort of educational, or is that just a happy circumstance?
My idea when I started this series was to write books that were both educational and entertaining, so that kids could learn sort of by osmosis. They would just automatically learn a few things while having fun reading a book. That was my idea.
Love that. And I think it
Because
also,
as a teacher, and you yes.
So you were going to say, as
Go
a
ahead.
teacher?
As a teacher, I really believed that kids learned better if they were having fun. So if something was fun, they would learn it so much easier. I mean, I've mentioned my grade 3 teacher, Miss Roll. She's the one that encouraged me stories down, but I'll never forget that year, because she made everything fun. She made learning fun. And so for me, if I could write books that were fun, as well as had some educational elements or things that kids could learn, that was my goal. And I think that, I mean, some of schools are using my books as part of their curriculum, which is great. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I agree wholeheartedly. And I think the other thing that they do is, create the curiosity of, of world travel and learning other cultures, and in a very gentle, soft sell kind of way.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I do
And
believe
encourage
that
them to travel, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly, because it helps you open your mind, right?
Exactly. That's the point.
So
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's wonderful. So are you still working full time, or is this your full time
Oh no,
occupation?
we retired. We bought a house in Spain 10 years ago, and we retired.
Nice.
And so I wrote the first 4 books while I was working full time, and then the last 6 I've written while I was retired. But here's a funny thing. I don't have any more time to write than I did when I was working.
Right. How does that happen?
I don't know.
So do you do half-time in Spain and half-time in Alberta?
No, I spend most of my time in Spain these days. My house is here, my husband's here, my dog here. But I go back to Canada about once a year for about a month or so.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. And what made you choose Spain?
Lots of reasons. The weather would be one of them. My husband's parents were living here. They had retired from England to Spain about 25 years ago, and we would come and visit them, and we really liked the place. The laid back lifestyle really suits us. North America is very, very go, go, go. Our jobs were demanding, the commute was demanding, and this, it's just, mañana. If we don't do it today, we'll do it tomorrow.
Well, and that's like, yeah, and that's like in, living in Dubai, although it's very cosmopolitan, very fast paced, the Arab culture was, you'd say, oh, we have a meeting tomorrow at 10, and they would say, Inshallah,
Yeah, I know.
Halas,
I love that.
it would be, oh, if God wills it, yes.
God willing,
So if there was any, like, if anything kept them from arriving or whatever, it was just like, oh, it was God's will. Yeah, but I like that
about that culture. That's really nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. And I mean,
the food is good. Yeah. I love the food. That's just everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that sort of Spanish, that culture, I've traveled to a lot of Spanish speaking countries as well. Right. Mm-hmm. So, I know sort of that whole, and I just finished reading a book. Oh my goodness, you have to read this. You'll love it. Finding Serenissima. And I apologize for promoting somebody else's book on yours.
No worry. It does look like a good one. And I think I have heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. And it's in actually, I think she was on Smorgasbord blog, if I'm not mistaken.
She was actually, somewhere I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's it's in Italy. I've just finished that as well, and hopefully Apple will be on. Mm-hmm. Apple is also an OC Publishing author, but her first 2 historical fictions we did. But what advice would you give someone who is, thinking about, writing their book or has written it and has put it in the back drawer and is nervous about releasing their baby into the wild?
Right. And I meet a lot of those kind of people, actually, to be honest. And the advice I always give them is don't give up. Don't give up on your baby. Mm-hmm. You put a lot into it. Maybe it needs more editing. Maybe it needs fresher eyes, but don't give up on it. I mean, it took me 5 years to find a publisher, and then I found one almost in my backyard. I know. So if you believe in it, if you firmly believe in it, don't give up and rewrite. Don't be shy about the rewriting. I'm sure,
very true.
I mean, my books, before they get to this point, they've been rewritten at least a dozen. The readers, I do editing. Yeah.
I think
go over them many, many. I know those books off by heart. By the time I'm finished with them.
Right. You get that hardcover in your hand and you're like, I really don't need to read this again, but you're drawn to it, right? When you talk about when you made that shift, the steep learning curve, and I think that's sort of, and you also talk about you've done some editing and given advice. I think that's sort of the evolution of the publishing model that I used, OC Publishing, that, the people who, for whatever reason, choose not to pursue traditional, or they're not sort of deemed commercial, but, aren't either motivated or find it, overwhelming, then seek, the assistance. What kind of advice would you give somebody who is overwhelmed? Like, what should they look for?
Yeah. You do need other help. You can't write a book by yourself. It doesn't happen. You need to 3 critique groups. Invaluable. You need other people to read your work and see it with fresh eyes. Just even if I had the templates, I still couldn't do it. I find someone to do it, and why not? Just do it. Go through it yourself. Get other people to read it. I have girlfriends that were teachers, they go through it, but I still hire an editor the final draft.
Excellent. And where do you find your designers and editors?
Find them networking. You know,
Okay. Mhm.
somebody, I asked somebody for some names and they give me somebody and they give me somebody. And then it was my editor, Molly Ringel, who lives in Seattle,
Mhm.
Washington. She gave me the name of a cover designer
Excellent.
who lives in Tacoma. So yeah, it's by networking, talking to people.
I love
That's
that. And
how
you know
I run
what?
my life.
Yeah, that's really good advice, because there are a lot of, when people are looking for like the least expensive or, quick and dirty kind of thing, you often wind up looking like a self-published book. So,
Right.
Darlene, your advice to do it through, collaboration or
Yes.
referrals from people who you trust, look at beautiful covers and find out who the designers were. I think that's really excellent advice. So
Mhm.
I think on that note, amazingly enough, we're kind of at our time. I want
Yes,
to
but it's been
thank you.
wonderful. Yeah,
It has
thank
been
you.
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and for coming all the way from Spain. So we're excited. Now I'm hooked. So, I've finished off I guess I just read the last one.
You read number 10, yeah, number
Oh,
10.
wonderful. So I'm going to do a little backtracking and start
Oh,
at
I
the
should
beginning.
mention the books do not need to be read in order. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank you. That was my next
They're all
question.
they're standalone books. I mean, sometimes you might refer to something, but the main character is always Amanda. Her friend Leah is in most of the books, but then there's other new characters that come in. And yeah, you don't have to have read the other book. It's not like Harry Potter. They're not sequential. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. And I just also want to bring up your website again. Do you have purchase links on your website?
I don't. Well, I
Okay.
might. Yes. Yes. If you click on the picture, it takes you to Amazon. Right. Mhm.
Okay. All right. So all the books are available on Amazon if people
And other
have
places,
been.
of course. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So do a search. And I'm assuming that you can go into your local indie bookstore and ask for them to order in for
And
them.
shelves, which they probably won't. They can order it for you.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you
Okay.
again for joining us today. And
Thank
well,
you
I'll
so
be
much, Anne.
enjoying.
It's been a pleasure.
It's my pleasure, and we'll be enjoying reading Amanda's travels. And I'm Anne O'Connell with OC Publishing. Thank you so much for joining us on the author journey. We'll see you next time. I hope you're reading some great books, and if you're writing them, just keep on writing. That was Darlene's advice. Never give up on your babies, and I agree. So